noticeable, usually earthquakes like California. Everybody has quakes. It's just you don't feel them. They're so small. But because of the fracturing that they were doing, drilling underneath people's homes and so uh, in the land, that was creating earthquakes.
Wow.
That's a lot of drilling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you catch that, Pepe? Doc D, we've got Pepe online with us.
Oh, they
Hello,
Pepe.
hello, hello. How are you?
Hola,
Buenas
¿cómo
tardes.
está? Buenas
Muy bien,
tardes.
Doctor D. Qué gusto conocerla.
Sí, igualmente. Wow,
Oh,
we're bilingual.
Uh,
you
he,
too.
he's he's trilingual.
Oh, wow.
He speaks with the animals in the forest. He's like Snow White out there.
Oh my
You got
goodness.
like the little
Pepe.
calibre hummingbirds coming up and sitting on his shoulder while he's swinging on the high wire.
Wow, Pepe. That's amazing.
He is
Thank you so much.
amazing. You're both amazing.
Well,
Now,
so are you.
oh, thank you.
And we need an
Um,
amazing club.
the, the mutual
The
admiration.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, great. It's
Um,
such an honor and a privilege. I'm all ears at the moment. How's that?
Oh, thank you
Pepe,
so much.
did you catch what we were talking about, Pepe?
I just got a tail of the conversation when you were talking about earthquakes.
Right. So we're talking about mining exploitation,
Wow,
globalization.
that's
I
something that
guess
is
that's another way
happening
to say it. Yeah,
all over the world now.
it
Uh-huh.
is.
Especially
So,
here in the Amazon, they have been
Oh,
attacking rivers because the gold that we have here
oh,
in the jungle are in the
oh,
water. So they're killing
oh,
all this stuff. And the thing around here that
oh,
it's
God.
happening, it's that it's kind of like a legal hole,
Well, that's what.
because
Yep. Mhm,
what
exactly.
it's happening is that we have like one of the main rivers that feed Iquitos, my city, from
Hmm.
water, for I mean like everything, the water that we
Hmm.
consume. So this river, it's really particular because well, we're like surrounded by rivers, rivers and jungle. Like actually, where I come from, Dr. D, is this small. We're gonna call it a small town because it's not that big, but I'm just in the middle of the rainforest. Like my city has no connectivity or no connection with the rest of the country. So to arrive here, you gotta take a plane or you gotta come by boat. And I mean like literally, we're in the middle of nowhere. So what happened is that this main river, Nanai, what that's how it calls, it's it looks because it's not, but it looks like black water. You can see the water and just a lot of people that are not from here and come to visit, they are afraid because they cannot see what it's inside, and they are always asking if they're gonna find an alligator, some piranhas, and some stuff like that. But it's kind of like what happened is actually the sediments that has been carried on for centuries or millenniums turn the ground of the water kind of like dark. So if you see, looks like black water, but it's
Yeah,
it's clear. So another
yeah.
particularity of this river is that we got two stations. We don't have like summer, winter, fall, that type of stuff. We don't have it here. We just have like rainy season and no rainy season. That's it. So when it's rainy season, so the volume of the water can change drastically. So from one season to the other one, the volume of the water can go up or down between 10 to 15 meters. So that's kind of like normal. Every year, that's something that happened. So when that happened, that means like when we get out of water, And because the rivers here are not straight like line, they're like shaping like a snake. They have a lot of turns. So in every turn, you will find natural white sand beach, and this is something that happens all over the turn. So you have like more than millions of natural white sand beaches all around this river, Black River, in the middle of the jungle with light blue sky and some clouds. So it's kind of like magical. But what is happening actually is that this river it's so long that goes up into the border with Colombia, right? So what is happening is that Colombian illegal minery have been entered to this um, legal gap that we have in the border, because that's what happened here in the border. We have so many borders that nobody is taking care of it, and these guys are entering to this area and they are exploding.
Sure.
They're using a lot of mercurio,
Sure,
mercury. They're using
mercury.
a lot of
Yes,
mercury,
don't
and
drink
they're
that
killing
water.
fish. Exactly, and we drink that
Oh my
water. We
God.
use that water, and
No, don't
now
drink that water.
the color of
Oh God.
the water is not black anymore. So it just starts becoming kind of like a light gray or something like that. So all these things just happening here, and this is something that
Yeah,
has been happening like every day, but
yeah.
it's kind of like hard to deal with because
Bless your
we
hearts.
live in a lot of corruption, especially among the governments, and especially because these things are supported by the demand of the people who's buying. So it's kind of
Yeah,
like
well,
a huge
it's
thing.
similar. Whoops, I muted myself.
So it's a catch-22 situation.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is a similar situation
Doc,
where, are you hearing me?
yeah, I hear
Yes.
you.
It's very similar because the companies were allowed to access the land underneath. And by the time the people found out, it had already been approved by the government. So people were protesting, and I was like, it's too late to protest. The decision has already been made. They're already doing it. They've already been given permits and permission. So it sounds like this exploitation, carries on at different levels. And I think the Amazon is one of the largest rivers, if not the longest in the world. So we know it traverses many countries. And what you were talking about, Senor Pepe, with the black water, oftentimes um, to assist with the health of a river or to widen it and shore it up a little bit, we do what's called dredging. You dredge the river, and that will lead to it being black for a while because it's kicking up all the sediment like you were talking about. It's sediment in English. I don't know. In Spanish, probably something similar. But eventually, it will percolate. The sediment will percolate back down, and it will come clear again. Now, the mercury, that's a whole different game. And I happen to be associated with a company that has a filter that can filter out pathogens, um, radioactivity, pharmaceuticals, and something like these uh, hard metals deposits that are in the water. And they often send straws. They have a small straw by which local people, they send them out to places like Haiti, where there's been floods. they'll send these straws so people can drink the water and not become ill. Yeah. So I would like to know more about the local villages. And you're correct with the mining. Basically, an agricultural runoff we have here in the States, it all goes downriver. Yeah. And that's what's happening with the mercury, the mining companies, and the large confinement feed operations whose agricultural runoff, for us in the United States, it's the Mississippi River. It's our largest river, and it's totally contaminated. There's a dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf de Mexico. It's a dead zone. That means nothing can live there. I forget for how far out, because of what you're talking about, sir. We have it. So there's, when you say corruption, I think that's a word that can be tossed around in many places. And I think because it can be tossed around in many places, we have to become more descriptive, because it's rampant. It's rampant. And so, and basically it's saying that people are not holding the integrity for Mama Tierra Oceana, ¿verdad? They're not holding the integrity for Mother Earth, our first mother, really our only mother, and Mother Oceana. Water is our most precious resource. I preach about this all the time. Not all the time, but a lot.
A lot.
A lot, a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Every time that you can.
And it's actually more correct to say Mother Oceana, because we're more water than we are land. But that's a whole webinar. That's another webinar. Mama Oceana, I prefer. Yo prefiero.
That's true. That's true.
How can we leverage ourselves to provide simple solutions here?
Whoa, that's a really wide question here. But if we want to, that would depend, because as you just mentioned it, river is long. So especially here in the Amazon, where I live in a city, but before the city, in every part of the river, there are villages, there are towns, there are communities. So
okay, so that would be
all of them are crowded of people. So the thing here, especially when we refer to jungle, we gotta be aware that one of the main weakness that we have is the access to reach to the people, because
accessibility.
jungle is really complex.
That's my other subject that I preach about, is accessibility in a broad sense, economic, financially, physically, accessibility. Exactly. That's the whole reason why blockchain technology is a game changer and a disruptor. And what's his name, Mr. Wonderful, spoke before the World Economic Forum a couple years ago, and I saw the clip myself. He's the guy in that show called Shark Tank, a multimillionaire. He said blockchain, not only will it be its own market sector, but it is a disruptor of all market sectors. He said this, not me. I'm not an economist. So I feel for land. This is what Brother Ray and I discussed, probably ad nauseum, is, and I was just talking to him about it this morning. It's a reclamation, a reclaiming of the land back to indigenous peoples. That's it. Via tokenized real estate, or I think it would have to be tokenized real estate. You can do no, it can be done because I have some. I have some in Dubai. Okay. So I don't know how to do it, but I know it can be done. And so all along that Amazon River, the indigenous peoples need to establish their ancestral locations, you know, geographically, which we have the technology to do it, and substantiate who they are and where they're from, and have the blockchain back it up.
I think this
And
could be. I think this could be a really powerful way for them to sort of step onto the world stage as well, or to
to
be.
step onto the world stage, and guess what? Technology's not gonna lie. If they say this is their land, this is the mountain range, this is the river or the tributary, what have you. And then we also want to make sure the seminas, I call them seminas de cielo, the heaven seeds, those are our seed bank, a seed banking that we are encouraging, the local ecosystem, whatever is your native flora, plantas. Now, those can be NFTs because it's authenticated, auténtico. It's authenticated from that area, that land, la tierra. And no one can say you're the originator. That tribe is the originator. No one can say otherwise. These companies are also wanting to commodify semina, seed.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't believe me, Dr. Vandana
No, no,
Shiva
no. I believe
from
you. They're
India,
doing it in
yeah,
Cusco.
they're doing
They're
okay.
doing it.
And so
They are
we,
financial.
yeah,
Well, this is how it works, right?
yeah,
So the modification, the modification of genetics in food here in Peru, it's a fact. It's not just a gossip. So what they're doing is they're giving a lot of money, especially U.S. companies that have
put my,
that provides hospitality. You know, this is how it
uh,
works.
uh,
So they're receiving the funds with
mm,
the name of um, how you can say like stimulate the tourism
uh,
and ancestral knowledge. So they are
mm,
giving money to the
mm,
farmers
mm,
to enter
mm,
agrochemicals and seeds
mm,
to this
mm,
new way of
mm,
growing, right?
mm,
And this is happening. This
mm.
started like last year. I have been living in
Last
Cusco.
year, okay.
So
Um,
this is what happening close to where you have like the main attractions.
sure.
So that is where you have like the presence of all these chains of hotels, and then um, where you have all these people that are arriving. So I
Yeah,
believe like the situation here,
it's happening
it's
fast.
well, yeah,
We
it's
know
happening
that.
fast, but also like it's a bit complex just to try to like enter in action because
Oh,
what is happening around here, especially in, and I'm not just talking about the Andes, but I'm
uh,
talking about the Amazon, is that before the colony and before the republic,
mm,
communities here has been really together, like close. They have been developed like networking all over
mm,
the continent, even to the Caribbean. Like I just met
mm,
an
mm,
anthropologist that he did a trip on a canoe like 40
mm,
years ago, and
mm,
he went from Ecuador, from the head up of the Napo River that connects with the Amazon, and they went
mm,
down from Ecuador to here, and then to
Oh.
Manaus, and then from Manaus they go up to Venezuela. They gotta walk through the Orinoco, and then they ended
Oh.
up in the Atlantic. That's how they reached to Cuba, and they did it. That's real. So that's how communities used to be connected. Like there was like this big Amazonian nation before that. So what happened is that when the colony came, like in a way of conquer and a way of destroy all this stuff, they start to build in these cities, putting like this artificial space where they're going to put in a superiority of what you have among them, right? And they start to put in this vision of getting rich, so have like a make it profitable. So making that just kills the whole way of how they were living before. So what
Wow.
happened here in the Amazon in
Mm.
relation to the country is that all this colonization is just recently. It's the most recently
Mm.
process of conquer that happened in the country because the Spanish arrived here 500 years ago.
Yeah.
So all this colonization process
1500s. Yeah.
was kind
Hmm.
of like, yeah, they already passed it, and then the Andes leave the Republic time and all this stuff. But in the
Uh-huh.
Amazon, the history was different. All this colonization just happened 160 years
Yeah,
ago.
it's been more
It's just
recent. Yeah.
it's just
I
now,
do know that. Yeah.
right? So
I
what
do know
happened is
that.
that mm, first, people still having the colonized mind. So there's a lot of suicides, for example,
Yeah.
on youth, original youth in communities because they don't have the identity. They don't know what to do.
Mm.
They feel a lot of
Mm.
discrimination when they came to the city. So
Sure.
I believe like the scenario here it's more complex, so much more complex because first you have things that you don't have access. Then you're in the middle of nowhere. Just so you got some places that to arrive there you gotta travel like 1 week on boat. So I'm just like
Yeah.
just to that, and
Hmm.
then you have these places where older people, the ones who have the knowledge, are dying, and also
Hmm.
what's happening is that government now
Mm.
with laws they're taking out the property of original communities and they start to selling the land to any
Mm.
industry, extractivist
Mm.
industry,
Oh.
lumber,
Mm.
gold, agriculture. So all these
Mm.
happening are happening now, right? Besides,
Mm.
you have the people who doesn't have these strange in their identity or in the customs, and the ones
Mm.
who have who do remember and who do resist, they got killed
Yeah, they
because
get killed.
they
Mhm.
are claiming something that is
Sure.
fair,
Yeah,
right?
the
But
resistance.
because you're in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
it's just easy to shoot you in your head,
Oh
and nobody's gonna say
yeah.
nothing.
Nobody.
This is like kind of
Uh,
like the reality what is happening right now
sure.
in the Amazon. And
Are you are you familiar with Rigoberta Manchu?
yes,
So that's what you're saying reminds me because the indigenous people are being murdered in that way that you're referring to in Guatemala. I'm I'm
So
aware of
this,
this because my father is from Belize, and my great uncle helped define la frontera between Guatemala and Belize. Um, so my family's been involved with the whoever drew the lines for the Queen or the United Kingdom back then. So just FYI, um, it's so important to uplift the first peoples, as you would say, indigenous first peoples. Thank you.
So that's what happens outside of the global eye of the media. I mean, what's been happening, and this
Yeah,
happens in Oceania as
yeah,
well, in the public eye,
yeah.
is you have the World Bank come along
There you
and
go.
support economically countries such as Samoa or these
Mm,
little island nations and
sure,
say, hey, look, we'll give you the support economically you need in exchange for dot 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 dot.
exactly.
And this is also what the like other countries like Russia and China have been doing to smaller countries or
Wow.
also larger countries around the world as well.
Yeah,
So,
they're going crazy on the continent of Africa, right, as well at the moment.
exactly. New Zealand sidestepped all of this by signing the chiefs.
Oh,
Um, several of the chiefs around the Aotearoa in New Zealand all
oh,
signed collectively a contract with the Crown of England, saying
really?
saying that they were
Oh,
the guardians of the fisheries, the guardians
oh
of
my
the
God.
forestry, and the guardians of the terrain. So
Oh,
years later, this legal document translates into
oh,
several billion-dollar industries just in New Zealand, which is a tiny country. But
oh my God.
it's meant that the biculturalism in New Zealand, for example, has continued to grow and strengthen, and there is a financial equality between the Indigenous peoples of New Zealand as well as
Oh,
the
okay.
so
They've
this
got their own system.
well no they just use the common law system
Oh,
that
okay.
that the English were plying their trade with,
Mm,
and it's just that they had a written document that they could then take to court and use as
mm.
leverage in modern day times.
Well,
So
this is what we're talking about.
this is
The
exactly what we're
challenge is that most recently with Gaza, they didn't show their strength. They're weak. They were weak in their decision making processes. I'm talking about uh, the Hague, the International Court. So,
they're all bought off, I think,
I mean, it's
all those
I was
judges.
I was watching them so closely, or because I don't know. I grew up that if you're going before the Hague, that's like, I mean, they're like right next to God, basically.
Well, I don't think they're right next to God any longer,
You
and
know, in terms of
I don't think
law, they're the
they
law
have
gods.
teeth and respect globally, but I don't think really they have a they have much to say anymore.
I was, I don't know. I think my head was probably up in my behind. I do have an altruistic streak. um, it did surprise me that they reacted in such way. And I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know if we can rely on them. But if we can't rely on them, who can we rely
Doesn't seem
upon?
so.
Yeah, that's my concern.
So,
There's there's a lot to consider here. Whew.
so with regards to so Pepe,
Ooh,
you've
excuse
got
me.
the festival coming up again this year.
Oh yeah.
You make
We I also have a organization that I do with my friends
Okay.
uh, of the sport that we practice. This is a balance sport, and
Mm.
we have been working alongside a original community in the mountains in the Andes. So there there's this area close to one of the glaciers in Cusco, the highest glacier there, that is called Ausangate.
Mm.
So basically,
Oh,
all
nice.
the white cordillera, uh, I believe, like in the whole continent, but especially here, that it's my reality in Peru.
Mm.
Beneath that, it's just full of gold. Like
Ooh.
all the white cordillera is just full of gold. So
Mm.
the cordillera just goes by along the country, and in each different cities, the situation with minery has been really wild. So in this area where we work,
Mm.
they have been present, and they have been trying to enter to start to explode in the area. Some of them are officially minoring, and some of them are kind of like
Mm.
illegal minoring, right?
Mm.
So what happened is that a lot of illegal miners have been trying to enter to this area where we are working now, and the community just step on and say like, no, we don't want that, and you're not going to enter here. So saying that, they were like more aware of what was happening and why this Western movement is just trying to
Mm.
fight them, right? So they were like seeking for alternative on how to get known, and also how to develop a way that they can generate incomes, but in a sustainable way. So we have
Uh-huh.
been developed this festival that it's about
Mm.
Highline Festival. That is the sport that we practice. And what we do is like we have been developing this Highline Park in a more
Mm.
sensitive vision, and trying to work more sustainable also in the space. And
Mm.
we are what we're doing right now is just trying to connect the culture, the Andean culture, and getting
Mm.
together with the activity that we're practicing. In that way, we're just creating this identity of the place and the
Mm.
festival itself. So people who come
Uh-huh.
from different parts of the world or of the country, they can have the experience to practice balance in the altitude, but also
Mm.
get to know from firsthand what represents to be Andean.
Mm. Nice.
So this site, this festival site, is this the one that you mentioned? It's about 4 hours by car or 5 day trek
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get there.
Yeah. So this area is in the southeast part of Cusco. So from Cusco city, if you go by car, it's like 4 hours and a half
Mm.
in the south. Or what people used, like original people used to move around, is
Mm.
walking the Capatñan, which is the old Inca trail that you connect the whole South America,
Oh, the old Inca Trail, huh? Wow.
Cusco to there.
I want to hear more about these trade routes. It reminds me of the
You muted
Uh,
yourself, I think, Doctor.
yeah, I didn't get you what you say, Doc.
Doc D, you still with us?
He,
Oh,
he left, I think. Doctor D just left the building.
she's on a sugar high.
Where she's living?
She's in South California.
Okay.
So she's getting ready to go to a convention in Ghana, I believe in July. And then the end of the year, as a part of the Green Dreams AgriVoyages, um, looking to represent the Kwanzaa festival in Africa at the end of the year.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we're working with some other like theological leaders of faith and stuff to develop this idea of the green dreams and agri voyages. So
Wow, that's really interesting. And did she is a actual doctor, or
She's a
that's just
veterinary
like,
doctor
oh,
and theological professor, if you like.
what? She's the
So
real deal.
she is the real deal. She's the number one goat rancher in Southern California.
What?
Is that true, Reverend Doctor?
Voila. Well, like what that actually means, like,
Yeah, exactly. What does that actually mean, Doc D?
well, I think she left because I don't
No, no,
see her here.
she's back on board. She's just getting
Oh,
her
okay,
she's
okay,
just getting
okay.
her cables
Okay.
aligned. So yeah, so really
I
she's
would, I would
she
love
works
to
with
visit her.
communities.
You know,
Sorry.
I would love to visit her if she live in the South California, because there might be a chance that I will be in the States for by September probably.
Nice. September, yeah, I'm thinking. I don't know for sure, but you're going to be in Southern California, Doc D, in September. Can you hear us?
You
Oh,
can't
here we
hear
go.
me.
Oh, we can hear you now. Sorry,
Okay, you
doesn't
can hear
matter.
me now.
We got
Okay.
you.
I was like, who are you talking about?
We're talking
Yeah.
about the number one goat rancher in Southern California.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably the only here goat rancher, and
And what
we're
that
cur-
means, Doctor D?
we're currently on a hiatus, um, preparing for land acquisition. So, um, what does that mean? Uh, we raise goats for meat.
Okay.
Uh huh. Three
Wow.
herds. Three herds are on tap, and we're actually using Brother Kiwi's friends, the Kiko goat. It's out of New Zealand.
Oh, that's so
Uh,
interesting.
it is. It is. Are you all raising goats there in Peru?
No, we don't have goats, I
You have
think.
llama, alpaca.
Yeah, we have alpaca. Like in the Andes, we have alpaca. Like
Yeah,
llama, alpaca,
there you
uh,
go.
vicuña,
Exactly.
and guanacos. But guanacos not that
One.
often. They're more in the south in Argentina.
Okay.
But in the
Great.
place that we are, that we developed the
Mm-hmm.
festival,
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest alpaca community that I saw.
Wow.
Like, yeah, if alpacas can vote, they will be
Yeah,
running the community.
they'll be running the place.
Yeah.
Well, I do support small ruminant production, and I think you mentioned accessibility. This is one area where it is manifested because we're coming from a womanist theological perspective. And that means we need to be thinking about the animal production and the food production that is accessible to women and children. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. So small ruminants like alpaca, goats, sheep, borregos, chivos, these animals are best suited and for their physical accessibility. But on a health basis and a sustainable basis, synergy happens because you can use them for three utilities: dairy, meat, and fiber. Okay.
Yes.
And so you're speaking to the first veterinarian that worked at the largest goat research facility in the United States. It's in Oklahoma. And
Wow.
so we had the three goat herds, sorry. So we're planning to do 3, but we're not going to do dairy except for personal use, because
Hmm.
running a dairy is crazy. If
Yeah, I
somebody
bet.
wants to come and do it, I will show them how
No.
to do it. If someone wants to come and do it here on the farm, but I'm not doing it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And here, one more thing.
Uh,
Uh, Here in the Andes, they're
uh,
using. I don't think they're using dairy here for
mm,
alpaca because this is what it's more it's kind of like more common for grow.
mm,
Like I mean, like here where we're working with our project, there's
mm,
only they only grow potatoes because you're
mm,
up to
mm,
13,000 feet of
mm,
elevation above sea level. So there are not many things that grow at that altitude. So the
mm,
only thing that grows is potato, so that
mm.
every family have their own piece of land where they grow the potato, and they grow it
Good.
once a year, and they have like the whole reserve for the whole year,
Mm,
and then they have like the
nice.
value that they have for the potato because there's so much potato that they don't have like just like that grow. They have like different
Mm,
techniques of conservation that will
mm.
have to last for the whole year. Then you
Excellent.
have trucha. How do you say trucha in English, Ray?
Ucha.
Trucha. Trucha is the fish.
Trout?
Trout,
Is it? Is
exactly.
it?
Trout.
Mm,
Yeah. So they have
mm,
trout in the river,
mm,
which is not originally, but
mm,
is the one who adapted very well.
mm.
So that's how they have the
Okay.
and then they have the alpacas, and the alpacas they use the fiber and they have
Fiber.
the meat, right?
Mm,
But they have in alpaca they have another thing which there are families who are really specialized in that, and there are like get better on the genetics. So
mm,
they like have like the most purest alpaca, which are beautiful, and
mm.
they sell their semen. So they just like
Uh-huh.
have like one male alpaca who will just
Yeah. Yep.
fecundate
We do it
another
all the
alpaca.
time.
So
Yep.
that's
We
kind
do
of
it
like
in food
how
animal. Yeah.
the two things that they have. But
Yeah.
in the llama, you have something particular. You still have like the meat, then you have like the fiber, then you have
Fiber.
usually the semen. But here in the Andes, the alpaca, it's now, and I know I have a friend who has this project putting
Uh-huh.
value to the alpacas again because, sorry, the llamas, because the llamas from the Andean cosmovision is the strongest animal, and
Yeah.
also it has a lot of connection with women, with female energy.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what they use the llamas is for caring. So
Yep.
they have these
Yep.
like
They're
a
beast of burden.
army. Yeah, there are this army of llamas, and
Yep.
there's this project who is called Llama Pack, where they um,
Yeah.
get back on the knowledge and in the
Mm-hmm.
use of the llamas for
Mm-hmm.
carrying stuff. And
Absolutely.
also it's the only animal who is completely sustainable with the environment, because what happened is that in the majority of the cases or the scenarios of the
Mm-hmm.
tourism especially,
Mm-hmm.
people use horses.
Mm-hmm.
So horses, what happened is that they can carry more weight, but
Mm-hmm.
they destroy the trail.
Yeah.
They eat the whole grass. So llamas,
Yeah. They're
in,
browsers.
yes,
This is what people don't understand. It's so important to know this is a huge difference. I'm a zoologist by undergraduate. There's a difference between grazers and browsers. That's what you're talking about.
yes,
Grazers will eat the plant all the way to the ground and basically ruin it.
exactly.
Browsers will not do that. So your small ruminants are browsers. They'll Now they will eat it down if they don't have a place to go. But by nature, they're browsers. So they go and clip off the most or eat the most nutritious parts of the plants and the trees and the weeds, and then they move on. They have to move. Whereas your cattle and, like you said, your horses, they they'll eat it down till there's just dirt. Yeah, they're grazers. It's a huge, huge difference. Llamas are absolutely essential. We had them on the goat farm here in Colorado. They're good for many reasons. Also, protection, because they'll kick a coyote in the head.
Yes.
They're used for protection as well, or a mountain lion. Um,
Amazing.
and they were giving them away in Colorado. I mean, it was because people don't know their value. Excuse me. And I'm glad you mentioned this feminine energy that I, I think it's important to honor and recognize that how these cloven hooved animals engage with the earth, la tierra, as you were saying. I love this because it is similar with sheep, goats, alpacas. Is they they won't destroy the earth. They because of the way their foot, their their hooves, and they don't have the weight. That cattle is the worst. It's this species is destroying much of the earth because of the way we're raising them and because of their nature, their actual nature, because they're
Yes.
heavy and
Exactly.
they compact the soil.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's right up my alleyway. You know, goat meat is the most consumed meat product on the planet. So when we were raising the goats, we could not keep enough. We could not. We could only serve one market. So the challenge for this next go round is to keep 3 herds and to keep the goats for each market separate because we have Latin American influence. They tend to want a younger goat, cabrito, cabrito,
Mm.
and
And
then
what are your markets?
it it's Latin America. Okay, so that's the Latin, you know, Latino America. Usualmente they want the baby cabrito, and
Cabrito.
then you have Middle Eastern and African. They usually want a yearling or older. They want an
Okay.
older goat. Yeah. And then the third herd is for mitigation. And I'm calling that the cull herd. Cull. In English, I don't know what the word is in Spanish. It's where you separate the ones that are not able to do what you need them to do as a utility. We call it
Yeah.
culling. It's called
Probably. Yeah.
culling.
This is kind of like what it lasts, right?
And so we want to, if they're young enough, we can keep them because we have areas here, like you were speaking to the um, the land needing support. So that herd will be used for mitigation. It will be used to help heal the land. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
It will help heal the land, and we have um, a colleague who has a company called Soil Secrets, and everything that he has is plant derived, but we can mitigate land and take it from whatever it was and bring it back. We have the ability with these products and the growing of hemp. Hemp, hemp, hooray. That's the other
Mhm.
one. Are you familiar with hemp?
With hemp.
Cannabis?
Yes.
Cannabis. Industrial.
Yes.
Industrial.
Yes. This is like the this is what it was made everything before.
Exactly. It was made, you can, paper, papel, um,
Ropes.
ropas, yep, all clothing. You can eat it, you can put it on your body, in your body. I can't, anything that's plastic can be made to hemp. Um, car parts, BMW has car parts. You can build with it. That's what we're intending to do here, building with it.
That's really interesting. And
Amongst,
you have all that in your property there in South California. That means like you have like the animals and the hemp structure there, right
that's,
there.
so we were on some land. We had to let her go. And so we're actually looking to acquire some to start back up again. Yeah.
Nice.
No, we haven't built anything yet. We're looking at some other options at the moment, um,
Okay,
to get people familiar with building with hemp,
that's really interesting.
because I don't know how you can be sustainable without hemp. I just don't know how you can. I don't care what
Yeah,
So
anyone says.
this is our three-legged stool, isn't that
It
right,
is.
Dr. Hall? So
Absolutely. Amen.
we have the food via the small remnants, commercializing, utilizing the resources to hand and dependent on what is available in whichever
Mm-hmm.
community. So development of the food,
Mm-hmm.
construction, whether it be
Yeah,
bamboo or hemp,
safe sanctuary, yeah.
and then the financial aspect, whereby we utilize the blockchain technology that we've got to basically stabilize and decentralize people's wealth and develop ways of
It is.
developing income.
That's a good way to put it. We are fortifying. We're fortifying the authentication. We're fortifying the verification of the land, the local ecosystems, and providing, I call it upliftment, such that people can be self sovereign with their wealth being and their well being. You cannot divorce one from the other, they have to be done concurrently. And so, with knowing that, as a leader, it's my role to simplify, KISS, keep it super simple, and educate. I say sometimes KISS is educate sustainably. That's what we have to do, as far as I'm concerned. And it's not to say anything is broken, it's to say that we are evolving. The stick and frame is just no longer viable. It's no longer valid. You know, we're coming into a digital age. I call it vibe. We're already in it. Virtual information blockchain era. We're already here. So those who learn the fastest and can get on board and be prepared, you're gonna do well. The folks who are resistant and don't want to learn, they're going to be playing catch up. Yeah, I'm not talking about the tomato sauce you put on your hamburger. Hamburguesa. Yeah. And so the challenge, I think, for those of us like Ray Ray that are in the know, I saw he's got Lydian.World. This is what we're dealing with. And it's already here. It's not coming. It's already here. And essentially, via Lydian.World, based on the Berlin Conference of 1885, the world is already cut up and divided up with I don't know how many countries, 200 or so countries. And so is Lydian.World. Lydian.World is a virtual mirror of the phenomenal world. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you.
So for first people indigenous to stake their claim to their ancestral homelands, it's essential. I don't know if you've looked into Lydian.World or know anything about it, but there's already people who have secured virtual real estate in Peru.
Mm.
You can ask Brother Ray Ray, he'll tell you.
I have it.
Yeah.
I have it already.
You see, it's already been done.
There's
I mean,
Peru here. You see this on the screen.
all right.
There's
Yeah,
only
there you go.
195 citizenships left available in Peru within Lydian.World at the moment.
There's Lydian.World.
So you can see here the GDP of the country, the population.
It breaks it down, all the statistics. Yeah.
The mining treasury.
Mm-hmm.
When we say mining, with regards to Lydian.World,
It's
it's
got mining.
referring to the in-world
Mm-hmm.
currencies that we use. So
It's got the
one of the nice things,
GDP. Mm-hmm.
one of the nice things I see about this is it's a sustainable way to mine metals
There you
without
go.
taking them out of the vault, which is Mother
Thank
Earth.
you. I love that. That
You
made
know?
my day last week.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Do you get what I mean, Pepe?
Yeah.
Everything's already vaulted, and like there's probably more than enough of all these metals that we're currently mining around the world
Yeah.
available physically already.
I couldn't sleep on that.
It's not necessary to keep digging up more. It's not
Exactly.
necessary. The technology that we have, we're able to ascertain what's underneath the ground, and we can assign a value to it, which
There
is
you
why
go.
the assigning sovereignty to the land and to the resources
Yes.
is really really important.
Yeah.
So um, you can see I've been mining down here. I don't know if you can see that. I've been
So
mining
I
down
don't
here.
I don't think my link even works. Does it? Um Ray Ray?
For
I,
Lydian.World,
for
possibly.
for the company, I don't think it works. Uh
I think possibly it will do with Lydian.World.
oh.
I'm not 100% certain,
Mm.
but the parent company has pulled out of.
What you doing?
What am I doing?
No, I'm talking to Fox.
Ah, okay. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Pepe?
I
What
see
do you
you.
guys typically do with regards
You got an egg already.
to um, to producing income
You
for these
hungry?
festivals? Traditionally, what do you
Well,
do? You show up and you stick your hands in your pockets, each of you, and you
well,
participate.
like especially here for us, because the activity, it's
mm,
reduced, so there are not many
mm,
people who
mm.
practice. So it's a
Mm,
growing movement, and
mm,
also because people yet don't understand it well.
mm,
So in a way of how
mm,
we're trying to connect with the community so they can generate an income is just to be
mm,
them, the provider of the services. That means
mm,
like accommodation, some food, and
mm.
some like basic service. But also for
Yeah,
them, this is new, because
yeah,
it's hard to, especially when you don't speak the same language, it's hard to tell them
exactly.
that they can make an income by doing what they do normally in a regular
Yeah.
day. That for them, this is kind of like the way that they live. So it's not that doing that normally it would generate an income for, right? So here the tricky thing is just to put in or to let them know or they can believe that doing the things that for them it's just the regular thing, it's something unique as an experience for somebody that comes from the outside, right? So that's like
Mm,
the first flash. And then to then believe that they can show them, I don't know, how to harvest a potato. Have you ever harvested a potato? There's like
mm.
really hard to harvest, man. You gotta like pick on the dirt, start to taking it
I
out.
mean,
So all that things that for them are just like regular things to do, nobody's gonna pay you nothing for that. So now we create
that's
something
true.
that is going to be valuable for the people who come from the outside, and
Yeah.
them are going to be the actors of this experience. So
I say put them to work. I
yeah,
mean, put them
this,
to work to the bajo.
yeah. Well, this is like the hardest part. Like this is the most hardest part.
And then have a
So,
nice bride, a nice dinner or evening meal
yeah,
together
kind of like all this stuff, right?
outside under the patio fiesta. Have a little
Yeah,
celebration. You
yeah,
know, what what's happening? We really need to. I don't. There's the World Council of Elders. I've reached out to them, but we need to get first of all the process simplified and down pat on how to do this, and we got to get it to many ears. It's really it needs to be done more rapidly, and more people need to know about it in a more rapid fashion. And I don't know how we can get that done once we have the process down and simplified. Any ideas?
On
you
yourself,
mean like
David?
you mean like people getting to know what is happening with the Lydian.World, and the
Yeah,
way that
and the
make it more
NFTs
sustainable is just
and
to get more people inside. So in this way,
the
the ecosystem,
TREs. Yeah,
it will be more
exactly.
accessible to everyone, right? That's kind of like what you're trying to do.
Well, it's not what I'm attempting.
No, but I mean like
It's
the movement for itself.
exactly because what this is also about is economics
Yeah.
and
Well,
access to market. So some people say free trade, some people say fair trade. The thing with the blockchain is that whomever can authenticate, let's say it's a seed that's in high demand because it has such miraculous properties. And so the challenge for First Peoples, Indigenous, is having that seed marketed that is directly from them. There's no intermediary, and then establishing the value for it. So
uh,
you cannot just give it away.
yes, yes.
Blockchain is democratizing. I mean, I don't know. It's really by consensus. The blockchain works by consensus. I don't the verb for consensus, consensifying authentication. All the blockchains have to agree, all the blocks have to agree on the chain or it will not go through. Once it
Yes.
goes through and it's verified, authenticated, no one can take it away. No corporation, no government. So if a corporation says we've got the GMO seed, you can take them to court. Say no,
Yeah.
this is our seed. This is our
I believe
tribal seed. Yeah.
like here the perspective it's hard. Uh, I don't know, like it's pretty hard to
Mm,
make them understand. Like
mm,
even for
mm,
me, it's hard to understand. Like I'm
mm.
completely
And
honest.
for me,
Like Ray has been trying to explain this to me like
Ray
I don't know,
Ray.
years and everything. And even for me, that I can understand English, I can have a computer, I can have access to internet. I don't understand it. Like,
Uh,
this is like fact. I don't understand. I don't know how it works. Like, I just like for me, just too complex. And
mm,
we here in especially in Peru
mm.
has been suffer any type of scam related with something
Oh yeah.
that you don't see, that is
Oh
not
yeah.
tangible to you. With
Oh
this,
yeah.
I mean, like,
I
especially here,
understand.
I'm just gonna talk about Peru, okay?
I
So
understand.
people here that is not in a big city, that means like where I live, and we're gonna say like more specifically to people who have no access of
Mm,
computer or internet and everything. So they're like recently they're understanding how to manage
mm,
the, this past economics, trading,
mm,
money, having cash. You know,
mm,
they're now understanding how that works,
mm,
especially original communities,
mm,
because for so long they have lived without it.
mm.
I mean, like Andean and Amazonian communities,
Mm.
they didn't use money before. Like my grandpa,
Exactly. Yeah.
he's 92, and
Mm,
he came to the city when he was 21.
mm,
Before that, if he wanted to eat, he gotta go and hunt. He gotta go and fish. He gotta go
mm.
and harvest.
Yeah.
So he was lucky that when he came to the city, he ended up working for a bank. Crazy, but he
Uh-huh.
understand then how the movement was.
Mm,
But not everybody had that approach. So
mm,
now what you can see is that especially original cultures are
mm,
now starting to get used to the money, or to the I would
mm,
trade something for something. You know, they are now 2024 recently start to use it.
mm.
So now we gotta tell them there is another way. You know, there's this new
Wow.
movement that come. So
I think
I'm
what
just
you're bringing up is a good point,
yeah,
and we may
I
need to come.
because I want to be completely clear on what's the
Yeah,
challenge, right? So
I
these
think that's really good. That's really good.
yeah, these
You know,
people are
we're from so
recent.
and so, and we're here to help you. Yeah,
Yes.
that
So
doesn't
now
work.
the idea will say like, okay, how you can explain all these ecosystem that you don't see because it's digital, and you don't have a device that it will help because none of them has a computer, none of them has a cell phone. But if they have, like they just use it to call. They just
Yeah,
press the green button, and to
yeah,
call, they press the red button.
I get
That's a
it.
lot. And how we're gonna tell them, okay, you have this thing that is going to be now the new thing. So
Who is the
I
most trusted body, sustainable body there in sustainable agriculture? Is there a trusted entity that is a nonprofit that people trust?
Well, they just trust in themselves.
I mean, like a Rigoberto Manchus, they're an age, well, not an agency or a ministry, a community, a person
That
that,
would depends. That would depends because um, well, it's really complex just to put the whole idea of
okay.
identity and trust, especially trust. We're Western. For them, even like
Mm.
if we're from there, we have been
Yeah, yeah.
born there, we're still Western, and that means like they don't trust us. That's
Is there a council of elders in
um,
Peru? Is there
well,
a First Peoples Council?
they are, but they still be a lot of bureaucracy to go there, and the
Mm.
accessibility to reach them is kind of like hard to get. So besides, um, just here in Peru area, we have 55 different original communities. Each of them have their own language, have their own cosmovision, have their own belief, and have their own way of living. So 51 of them from these 55 are Amazonian, and that means like they don't speak the same language. They don't understand each other. And
Yeah,
four of
I
them
get it.
are Andean, so they speak language. They speak at least Quechua is the main thing between them. These four
Quechua.
communities they speak Quechua, but the other
Yeah.
ones, the Amazonians, they have their own world for them. So that means like arriving and trying to connect with them. That will be like try to understand how they see the world first. Try to tell them something.
Because I guess what I was thinking about, pardon, is a trusted body that would know more or less, más o menos, where the ancestral lands are and could assist with identifying them. And once they're identified, going to the circle of elders or the tribal nation, the people, and saying, is this correct? Verifying it with them, making sure with the decision makers that that indeed is their land. So basically, in a sense, the the land assessment is done. The land assessment would be done for them, and they would just need to verify it, authenticate it, confirm it, and that way they will make. You want to make sure that they get access when they're ready, because it's going to take some education. And I think that's the other piece of it, is to be prepared to educate people when and if they're ready. But we surely don't want people to not have their land recognized, and then these companies come and do what they please. I think it was a video of them clear cutting the Amazon, and I was just, I don't know how the government could have allowed that. But there
Well,
they
they're
were,
they're
clear cutting
they're
the Amazon.
yeah, they do it. They just what happened
Wow.
here especially is just like there is a lot of central
Mm.
accumulation of power and decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So that means like people
Mm-hmm.
who is doing this and who is just
Mm-hmm.
giving the land, they don't have an idea like what they're doing, what they represents, and where they're doing. Like and this is what is happening, I believe, in the whole world, but especially here in South America or Africa or any continent that it's crowded of nature sources that we use for making the industry continue going. That's how they start to coming around here, with the idea of make something profitable. So they start to making and finding um, ways that they can transform something that it was natural and to make it industrial and then sell it back to you. That's what's happening in all these continents. So what happened with this, especially, is that there is a lot of misinformation from this new way of living, this Republica time. And with that, that means like the way they conceive the world and the way of living is not taken in count anymore. That means like whatever knowledge they used to have is just trash for this new way of living in the Republic. And that means like they don't respect them, they don't recognize them, they do whatever they want. And who take that decisions? The ones who are management the country in a short period of time. And what is happening is that major corporations they get a bribe to someone there in the management team, and they just receive a couple millions, and they just wrap a paper and sold the Amazon for 30 years. And this is what has been happening since ever. So that's kind of like what it's happening, like especially in the Amazon, especially in the Andes. It's people who doesn't care who they live in the city, they live in the capital, everything is perfect there. You can go and buy your stuff in the store, you know that you're going to have water, you have light, so you don't care what is going to happen outside of your bubble. That's what replicates in the whole countries among the continent.
So, do you think, Pepe? Do you think it would? I mean, without going into the political side of things, if there was to be some sort of charter formed, like an NGO charter formed, that younger people that have left the communities and gone to, say, Lima, for example, are able to connect and share and develop, because these are the people, this is the connection back to the tribal way of life or the tribal culture, that they're more connected, but they're not directed. They don't have a sense of purpose or destination, which is why I imagine why there's a lot of suicide and so forth happening. So if there was perhaps a chapter that could be formed, or chapters that could be formed, whereby specifically targeting people from these original communities that are educated in new technologies, we help establish with them the education that they need to enter into like this new digital space, and then from there grow it outwards, so that eventually these communities have their own financial standing. I mean, I don't know.
No, it could be, I believe like, but this is going to be kind of like more like going to each place. I believe like it's something that it's possible, especially as you say, like that will be depending on where, which area, because if we want to reach to original communities, especially here in the jungle, are not easy access.
No, but
And
it's exactly that. I mean, you've already. I mean, I understand the amount of effort and consideration that was taken to establish the festival last year within these communities. What I'm saying is, do we take a step out instead of diving into the Amazonian jungle and so forth, attempting to reach the X the young people that have moved from the original communities, gone into the city to try and forge a better way of life. Maybe that's an easier way, which is why I was thinking, okay, well, how many of these people that went to the festival last year, these young people, would be interested in doing the 5-day trek back to the communities as part of a greater, like extending the visibility of not just the communities, but like this transference of information from like their cultural heritage, but also what they've come to know and what they've come to learn from the Western side of it, or from the
Yeah, yeah,
modern.
I understand. I understand. Well, here's a gap because you just what I have access or what I have seen, you just have like old people. That mean like not old, but I mean adults. That mean like kind of like 30s up to like 30 years and up, and then you have kids. So, but I mean kids, I mean like 10, 12 years old.
Okay.
So if we want to make something like this, our target will be youth because they understand the language, they're bilingual, they speak Quechua and they speak Spanish, they have access to a cell phone connectivity, they will be more into it to understand something. The
So
challenge
we're
here that these guys or this group, I don't know where they are
this is
because
the group in between 10 to 30.
yes, because they just left the community and who knows where, and they're already mixed up with people from the city. You know, this is like another fact that happens in the original communities. Once you get out for good. Like you don't get back because you already taste what living in the city means, having to work, and then you know you start to getting responsibilities. Then you get married and all this stuff. So I don't
Exactly, but
know where to
we
find
under,
it.
we understand what that life is like. We understand what that life is like. It's like 9 to 5, work to home, home to work to home. You know, and we understand that it's not sustainable either. It's not
Yes.
sustainable to have a job that's going to pay you for 40 years of your life and give you enough of an income to be able to survive while you're in the prime of your life, let alone with enough left over to be able to live respectfully and with dignity as an older person.
Yeah.
So I would argue that that is exactly the market, like the group of people that we're looking for. We need to find them.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
That's the challenge. And especially here in the Amazon as well. I know some people that can get interested, that can be more aware of it, like youth, young, between 20s and something like that. They are from the original communities that they live here in the city, that they are more attached to alternative stuff and just having a job. Like I know a few of them, Amazonians. Mm, so that would be a good way of start if we want to just take one step.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like meeting in the middle, because I think, like, speaking for myself, my goal is to more or less just broach or become more aware of these different cultures and ensure that they are positioned so that for the next 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, they have a better way forward. Because obviously we see what's happened over the last 5 centuries, and just how the exploitation is not going to cease all of a sudden just because everybody's suddenly going to develop a conscience. No, it's not. It's not going to happen like that. And to find a way to combat or to affront these 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 exploitative, colonialistic, imperialistic tendencies. They need to have teeth, you know. So I really see this is why I was really in admiration of the whole what you guys achieved with the Slackline Festival last year, because to be able to reach into the Amazon jungle, into these really original communities, and come up with a meeting of styles, as it were, and broach, make a bridge, Slackline
Yeah.
bridge. I think
Yeah.
it's really commendable, and I just think it's it's a really nice entry point to be able to build upon, grow the slackline culture, but also expand the education to the food, sustainable farming, the shelter, the reuse of hemp, and then finding passive means of passive income that can be utilized. And they set them up from people that are living in the city that are in need of additional sources of income, and then from there be able to parcel off a portion for the community, so that these communities aren't reliant on people coming to them with checks and sort of bribing them with cash money. That's all I have to say about that.
But I like it. I like it. It's really it's a really nice mission. Uh, that I believe like it's it is possible. It is possible to do it. It's just like I believe like the first contacts, it will be more kind of like yeah, it will be like imagine if you're opening a tourist company like I do it, and I don't have clients, so we need to start reaching by one. And once we got something and we start to move in the wheel, we can start to spread the message a bit more massively,
Ah,
focusing on the target that we want.
yeah. I mean, it's really all about being purpose driven. So if your purpose is this, and that's what you're promoting, that becomes your point of difference. It becomes something that you can use to leverage more visibility. You can use it to leverage the marketing and like to get more people interested in, say, doing a 5-day trek. It's super limited, so we're only taking 50 people in 2024. I mean, I think it's there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of really nice things about being a purpose-driven enterprise, or being a purpose-driven organization.
Yeah. Yo, I just read that Dr. D is on backstage. She's asking to let her in.
Sorry, Doug D. I did see you there, but I didn't realize you weren't on the
That's
stage.
okay. Yeah, that's okay. I'm making all these comments. Y'all can't hear me. That's okay.
We're receiving them via Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. I talk too much anyway, probably.
No.
Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying what I'm hearing. I love the approach of our young treasures. That's what I call them. In the States, we often say they're our future. I say they are our now.
Mhm.
NOW. Ahorita mismo.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, the most powerful moment is the now. So we want to give them the tools, the equipment. That's what Brother Ray was referring to. they're needing something to do. They're needing something of value to do. And how best to do that is educating them on the significance of honoring where they're from, their ancestral home, the land, the flora, the customs, the culture, the ways. And, the seminas de cielos, the heavenly seeds, these are of utmost value. And whatever is, I would say, like, I like to talk about Manuka honey, because it's from the down under. Okay? Ray knows a little bit about them. But everybody on the planet, if you're out and about and then you talk about Manuka honey, they know it has medicinal properties. By design, honey has medicinal properties. So sometimes it's just that location. You can apply it, like Amazonian honey. Ooh, it's honey from the Amazon, must have some medicinal properties. And I'm giving an example, let's just say, or a seed, a fruit that is known to be available. Then the people need to add that value, whatever they say it's valued, into the mix, not allowing anyone else to tell them or to coerce them as to what that seed or that plant or that fruit is valued for. Because the marketplace, via what Ray is showing there in the Lydian.World, that's going to be where people market their whatever. It could be real estate, it could be art, music, seeds, what have you. And this is where we're headed in regards to virtual information blockchain era, is for everyone to basically, you got to toot your own horn and say, these are my people. This is the land of which we've had. These are the seeds that we have. This is the beauty of our place. And we hold it sustainably. This is how we do it. And have the ability to authenticate that, so that any commodification is happening from the people themselves. Okay? No one else is going to play. No one else can place value on it. There's nothing inherently wrong with commodification. It's just the way we've been using it. And I am of the hypothesis that eventually we're going to go back to bartering virtually, because you establish a value for whatever it is that your product, and then people will say, well, I have this product or I have this service, and then we'll just barter for it. We won't have to interchange anything. I'm a veterinarian. We can do a veterinary consult. I can do an animal assessment for you, and my rate is XYZ, do, re, mi. You have something that I want, and it's the same price or just close to it. And then we agree to make a business transaction, and then it's done. We don't have to go through anyone. It's between you and me, you and I, and we have that transaction via blockchain, and it's done. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you now.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay. So I feel we're going to get back to a bartering system, but we're going to have to go through some of these hoops and loops, because people, this is another spiritual exercise, is establishing what is your value and how you're valuing yourself as human beings. This is a rehumanization. We are dehumanizing each other every day. for whatever reason, shape, size, color. We're in a caste system, some say, on a global scale. And so, why is it that certain people are valued over others? What is going on with this on a spiritual level? So, part of this evolution that we're going through is a spiritual exercise of rehumanizing and establishing value as human beings. And then all of our relations, animal beings, plant beings, uh, elemental beings, which is anything that's on that periodic table, and celestial beings, all beings, of which upright, two-legged Homo sapiens, by birth, we are in covenant. It's our responsibility. We are to be in stewardship, not grabbing everything, not, hoarding everything. That's not it. So as we educate our young people, they can see that value. They can see where they fit. They can see how they can be productive with the blessing of their elders and not the scorn of their elders. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Good. Because I think it's almost like Ray said, a catch 22 at times. We are angry at our young people, but in some ways it was a setup for them. What were they to do? And so many of them do go lie, cheat, and steal. Yes, they do. They end up in prison. They end up in jail. Or they end up being predators for God knows whatever. These things do happen. And I think that's why in Kenya, where we're headed, we've got to bring faith leaders together, because it is incumbent upon us as leaders, we're all leaders, but specifically faith leaders, to speak up about what it means to be a human being and to be in honor of other beings with inclusivity, hospitality, and divine grace. All the mystics agree, and I'm sure indigenously we all agree, that there is a being almighty, I am that I am. Great. Someone's at the front door. Can you believe this? Greater than ourselves. I guess I better go get that. Pardon.
That's all right. So just to wrap things up, how did you get on with your KYC? Any headway there? What are your goals and plans and objectives?
For me,
Yeah.
um, well, I'm right now kind of like on the physical now, just setting up everything of my business, just trying to put it in the flow. So that's kind of like my goal now, because
How was the first tour, dude?
what?
How was the first tour?
Well, it was great, bro. Like I mean, like uh, but especially because what represents like I arrived here with an idea. It was just a pure idea, something that I can see, visualize, that has a potential to reply it here. Because when I arrived here at the beginning, I didn't have any intention to stay, like to live in the country. I was kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna be bypassed and then I'm going. But then when I started getting more here, um, I realized that oh, we can do something here, right? So then I started working, also doing tours in Lima. That was like a good opening for me. And then I just connect and I said, like, whoa, instead of
Hey.
walking and doing a free walking tour or just taking
Yeah.
a bike, which is cool, but here in Peru it's not safe because we don't have bike lanes like in Buenos Aires. So it's kind of like
Okay.
a nightmare just to take people out on a bike. Like imagine in Buenos Aires, every time that we went out on a bike tour, I was kind of like stressed until I knew that I was in the block of biking again, because I know, okay, everyone is alive, so it was good. And then in Buenos Aires, you have a good way, a good system of biking, right? But that in Peru, that doesn't exist, especially here in Iquitos. Is a nightmare. So I said like, whoa, what I can do that it will be fun and it will be like good. So I said like, food. We love food, so that's a perfect thing. So everything just started with an idea. With an idea, no money. Like that, I mean, like no money for tasting because you got to taste what you're gonna eat. Like that's kind of like the idea of the whole thing. So a lot of things happen on the way. We got a lockdown. We got, oh, my grandma died. I was caregiving my grandpa like for 4 years. So there were like a lot of things that I wasn't um, knowing that it would hit me. It was kind of like that. So after having this idea, then I knew that I did not, that I know nothing about my roots and myself. And then I said like, whoa, there's so much value on this land, and this is where I
Yes.
come from. This is where I have.
Good.
This is what I feel proud of it. So it
Very
was
good.
like a reconnection with myself, with my identity. So it was a whole process.
Mm.
I just came with an idea, say like, oh, this could be work, but I did have no clue what I have to pass through during that time to reconnect with myself, to connect as a human, taking care of my grandpa, of understanding how the economical situation will be after the lockdown. So it was like a lot of things, and to gotta be like for far the hardest project that I have been involved because it was a personal project. I only had myself and my will, and I had a lot of stimulation on the way. So there was a point where I was um, running lack of motivation. I was just saying like, "Fuck, this is like too long." So that's when I reconnect, start traveling, and do highlining again, which I wasn't doing it. So that allowed me to connect with myself again and with all this knowledge that I had. Like I said, like, whoa, I did all this, right? But because during the lockdown, emotions and the things were too intense. I didn't have like nothing to do. I didn't want to, not even to read my project. I like, fuck, I don't want nothing, right? And I was like, whoa, it's crazy. So after having all these uh, backgrounds and experience, and then I just said like, bro, we just rowed the canoe so far. Like we can see the land now. What the fuck? Like, let's just keep pushing it. So got all the motivation back. I got all this idea, and
The boat just disappeared, just like that. So it's going to say, okay, so how do we get a hold? How do we get a hold of you, Pepe? Okay, so those guys have both dropped off the line. Internet connectivity issues. I guess the next step will to be work out a little bit more about how we can get a hold of Pepe, check out his tours that he's doing in Cusco, the 5-day trek that they'll be doing in Cusco up into the Amazon over the Inca Trail, and we'll reconnect again with Doc D with regards to how we can help to develop and support and make more visible these communities. So a lot to unpack here. We'll see if we can get a hold of some of these people that have moved into the capital cities and see if we can sort of form some network, get some movement around this festival, get people on the Incan Trail and out into the jungle with the whole idea of regaining sovereignty for these indigenous and original communities. So anyway, that's it from me. Purpose, peace, and power. Big loves and buenos Aires. Stay strong.